Oh my goodness. I should turn on the camera if I want to have you on the podcast, Angela. It's like that today. I think that's the day I've had it already.
We just have to finish this room project.
We're live.
Sweet.
What's happening? What's going on, everyone? What's going on? I'm so excited to be here today. You have no idea. We have one person up. Here we got some.
Remember that we have a very sensitive guest
here
with us today.
Right. I'm so glad that people are arriving. He won't react to arriving, will he?
No.
Hey, guys, what do you think of this? If you're on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, pay no attention. But I made this little 2-shot of me and Angela. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? I call it the side by side. Be honest, because if you don't like it, I'll change it. Oh, tell me about it. What drama? Delicate's saying that the Swifties are getting her mad because they're.
I got you covered. I know all about it.
You do?
Yes.
On Tanner and Flurry and Gorgeous just joined. Some people are joining over on TikTok.
Sweet.
Fucking love you guys. What's up, Tanner?
Jacqueline says I like it.
Oh, that's great. Awesome. Well, yeah, and then I thought I would, spice it up, but a little something. I don't know. I'm gonna change the background, I'm sure, but I went through so many today, and I just went with that one for now. But thank you, Jacqueline. I'm glad. But yes, so I was thinking about today's our fifth live on YouTube, and things have changed 100 different ways, and I think it's our fifth live.
Congrats.
Things are changing like crazy, and I've screwed everything up so far that we've touched, just so you know. Like, all of my audio.
You screwed up.
Yeah, all of my audio's been clipping. So I've just been producing absolute garbage.
Well, this is how you fix it. That's how you learn. It's not a big deal.
I think Angela looks much better today. I worked very hard on her camera.
Jessica.
Yes.
Has an update for us.
What's up, Jessica? Tell us the update. What's going on?
I watched The Great Gatsby last night.
Oh.
And Toby seemed really unhinged, even if he wasn't supposed to be.
Do you think I'm getting to you, though? Like, is that, like, just coming through? Is this on TikTok?
Yeah.
On TikTok? Yeah, is that getting to you? Like, am I getting to you, I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, here's what happened. Like, for as long as I've ever looked at the image, the likeness of Smokey Robinson, I thought he was a sweet, loving, good-looking dude who, was with that voice, and he never looked like
you and everybody
creep.
else. He
never looked like a creep to me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, fucking Bill Cosby never looked like a creep to me. Like, I can't look at that dude without seeing creep. Like, is it me? Am I to blame? I forgot I don't have to shout.
I think that's just the nature of all bias. Right? Like, you were given more information, so it gave you a bias against that person, and now he looks like a creep.
Yeah.
Now you can't see, like, Mr. Huxtable being adorable with his family anymore without being like, that is some villainous shit right there. Look at him pretending to be a normal...
Everybody there is, like, unsafe.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Like, everybody that is like, literally there is unsafe. So, by the way, for those of you on the YouTube live, I'm very excited because next week... Monday, we'll start throwing in the media, and I'm really excited about that.
Tanner said, "I'll watch yesterday's live later tonight after the Yankees."
It's clipping like crazy. I hope you're cool with it. But yeah, that's the cool thing about being on YouTube is that if you don't join us, you can always check out. Erica, I was thinking about you last night, and not in a bad way. Like, thank you very much. Erica just joined us, by the way, and Erica is a Dallas fan. She's from Dallas, so we are already friendly rivals. Because I am an Eagles fan, and I've been an Eagles fan since I moved to America in 1994. So no bandwagons for me. I was on Ray Rhodes, when Ray Rhodes was the coach. And, of course, the Winnipeg Jets, I've loved them since I was a child. And Erica just congratulated the Winnipeg Jets because they won last night. They survived I'm unemotional about it because it's like they got to win they got to win two more to get through the round. You know, Dallas is still in a really powerful place.
Cosmic Urgency's back with us on YouTube.
Yes.
Says, looks good, but I don't know about the gray.
So I got to find a different background. But at least we look good together.
It kind of looks like a dirty floor, Dale.
Well, it's just so interesting because like I went with like, okay, well, I'll keep working on it. That's why these episodes these are just, you know, we're learning. By the way, before we get on to our regular topics, are you hearing all this shit about Justin Bieber?
That he's broke?
No, well, he sold his record. He sold all his music for $200 million. He is not broke.
No, but he was broke, and that's why he did that. That's all I heard about.
You know what I mean? Like when I'm broke, I gotta like sell my car.
I just know that he's looking very concerning in all of the paparazzi videos that are coming out.
Apparently, people are saying who are close to him that he's in a cult. That some pastor, some church dude, has gotten into his ear, and that he is fallen down. This poor kid, man. If this is true, you know, this guy just can't stop getting manipulated, man. It's crazy. Like if this is true, I don't know if it's true, but if it's true.
You know, what's super sad about that is that he probably sought out some counseling, like religious guidance.
I mean, can you imagine?
As a result of all of this shit that just came out and the trial that's currently happening. And it's just like a really, really bad time for somebody who's traumatized like him. His defense, P. Diddy's defense, went after Cassie today in this trial day. And that was not fun.
Yeah. For Cassie?
No, for anybody who's like...
Just period. Anyone who's been involved with the guy?
No, anybody who's like, you know, thinks that he doesn't deserve defending for these things. You know, here's the thing. It's weird. Is that he's being charged with really big criminal offenses by the state.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's so important to impeach Cassie as a witness because she has evidence that the state has deemed to be valid and worthwhile and worth pursuing.
Yeah.
So people are trying to make her out to be some liar or something. But it doesn't matter. It's really irrelevant. It's just victim bashing. You know, it's good that that they have that video of him kicking her ass in the hotel hallway. Because otherwise, you know, like anything that they're saying in his defense, like they put up text messages where she, who is essentially a captive and has been with him for 10 years, is saying nice things to him.
Cassie.
Yes, and they're putting up these text messages between them as if that disproves everything else that she's ever said.
Anyone with a fucking half a brain knows that she was a captor if you believe her story.
She was a captive, yeah.
Or captive, I'm sorry. If you believe her story, everyone knows that woman was, first of all, she's not just dealing with somebody who might be like, who might bring about like an incredible criminal threat, you know, a violent threat, but he was the biggest, one of the biggest producers in the world. He's one of the most powerful people in the music industry.
Also, she tried to leave him and then he blew up her boyfriend's car. So, you know.
And he's notoriously attacked. Exactly. Well, that, and
I'm sure she knows about the murder allegations.
Right.
You know?
I mean, like, you know, Biggie, Tupac. I mean, these are all like, and then there's like other people have come forward saying that there have been others who have been offed by him. Mm-hmm. You know, through obviously hiring somebody to do it, but.
So I just assumed that it just looked really bad to the jury. Because she's such a sympathetic character, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, all of this shit is so crazy. I can't believe that we're living in a time when like so many are falling, and from such high places.
Well, I mean,
I'm thrilled by it.
I could have suspected it with P. Diddy because he had the, you know, people suspected that he was behind those rap killings.
I'm not surprised either.
30 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by P. Diddy, but I am surprised by the sheer volume of people falling. You know, Cat Williams, right? He said that 2024 was the year of the truth. I put my book out. You know how I rename things?
Yeah.
I've foolishly been renaming my book an album because I've always wanted to make an album. And so I think I'm going to pretty
this
soon
dementia?
be saying, yeah, it might be pre-dementia.
It was funny too because in that Cat Williams interview that you were referencing, he was
Yeah.
talking to Shannon Sharp, who was interviewing him, and he gave him a really
How
knowing.
fucking ironic is
No,
that?
but he gave him a really knowing look.
Did he? I didn't notice that.
He did.
Well, why would I notice that anyways?
He was like, "That means you too, buddy."
Yeah, and it did.
Like,
He
he
went
knows.
down. But look at all the people who went down. Neil Gaiman went down. Shannon Sharp went down. Obviously P. Diddy went down. Leo has fallen several notches for certain. I mean, he has fallen. It is surprising. Like I've been involved in the Leo business for a little while, and I've heard. Like I've said yesterday, I talked to a lot of his fans all over the world, and I can't really think of a time ever in the last 13 years that I've been doing this that there was so many from his fans, so much doubt cast on him, so much sort of now gray area around him.
I think his repeated, quarter century limit on his girlfriend ages. I think that really got to some people where they're like, "What is that about? What do you mean that you drop him to 25 consistently?" It's weird. It's a weird way to behave.
It's a weird way to behave. Cosmic Urgency. I cannot stop loving your name. And I won't.
You can't make you?
You can't take me from it. It says, explain Travis Kelce, unfollowing Ryan Reynolds, y'all. I don't know if the y'all's sarcastic, though.
I think
you're taking advantage of the fact that I love your name.
I think the explanation is that he never followed him in the first place.
Yeah.
I think the explanation is that this is a coordinated smear campaign where they said the publicist had a document, okay, that was like bullet points of all of the things that they wanted to do, that they were going to accomplish for their clients. And half of and part of what they memorialized from their meetings where they were spitballing, coming up with ideas with their clients was to try and change the narrative to focus on Taylor Swift and other close celebrities.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't surprise me that we're all of a sudden seeing all these other names dragged in the context of Justin Baldoni in order to keep you guys from talking about him and the allegations against him.
Yeah.
None of these people are relevant. I don't know why everyone's falling for it.
They're not.
But they literally wrote it as a plan.
Delicate was talking about how she's upset that Swifties are falling for Brian Friedman.
Delicate, I don't believe that they are. Remember, another thing on that stupid plan that they'd put out and that we have as evidence of this coordinated smear campaign was that they wanted to make it untraceable and they wanted it all to look organic. I don't know that those accounts, I mean, it's possible that there's some people who are being convinced by bot accounts.
Right.
But the majority of what you're seeing is probably just like a bot farm churning out these comments. And what they do now is more sophisticated so that they can evade the bot detectors on, Instagram and Twitter and stuff. But they actually have like real accounts.
Yep.
So it looks like real people, but it's not. It's all coordinated. That was the whole thing that they
it's
paid
so
for.
fucking frustrating because it's like I fall for this shit all the time too. Like I'm going to be a
you
sucker
do.
for
Everybody
AI.
does.
I'm going to be a sucker for AI. I'm just going to I fall for
I
all
would have
this shit.
suspected that maybe there was some truth to this if I didn't see that document. Everybody saw that document and everybody's still falling for it. You can't believe anything that these people are saying about anyone in this case because that document exists. They said we want it to look organic. We want it to make it untraceable.
Yes.
So you can't believe anything you're reading about this.
I know. It's so crazy.
We just have to wait for the trial is supposed to start in April of next year.
Yep.
So everybody just needs to sit on their hands until then, until we actually see some
it's not going to
evidence
happen, obviously.
in court.
Yeah.
Cross-examination, like stuff like this.
Mrs. Strawberry has joined us on Twitter.
Wonderful.
And she says hello.
That's nice.
Hello, Mrs. Strawberry. And hello to everybody else. Anybody who doesn't know who we are, I'm Dale Wheatley. And off camera, if you're on Twitter, is Angela. She is, my significant other. I don't know how to put it except that you're an incredible human being, somebody I admire and I love, and somebody who also I just enjoy talking to every night, and who also brings a great perspective to things. So that's Angela, and you can see her on YouTube if you go to the YouTube link in my bio on TikTok. You can head over to YouTube and you'll be able to actually see Angela. And we also do have better sound over there, so you're welcome to join us on YouTube as well. And again, for those who don't know who I am, I'm a writer and producer. In 1995, I wrote and produced a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. We've been in a 30-year dispute over it. It's called Don's Plum, and you may have heard about it. And I've been fighting for this movie for 30 damn years now. In 2019, Leo publicly called me a liar and a thief. I needed a way to respond, but I don't have the money and power and resources that Leo has. So, I used the one thing I do have, which is a talent for writing. And I wrote the book behind me called Too Real, a Hollywood memoir. And I invite you to read it because most people who do really, really enjoy it. And that's all I'm going to say about all that. Because we had like 17 people and we dropped to 11.
They're like, oh, is the pitch started?
They were like, oh, fuck. Here he goes. I came here for the tea. And what does he give me but fucking...
Okay, you want to hear
the collection dish.
Do you want to hear some input from the chat?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so Delicate says, if this person who is close to Taylor Swift called Brian Friedman, that person has betrayed Taylor.
And it never happened.
So
we know that never happened.
I saw some people who suspect that it's probably Kanye. And Kanye West has been hanging out with Scooter Braun.
Is that true?
Yeah, well, they're all in the same,
Well, that's the other thing. And first of all, in Hollywood, and I even found myself guilty of this, but in Hollywood or just showbiz in general, if you know somebody for like a minute, they're like your old friend. If they're famous, like if you bump in to like something like I worked for Randy Quaid for one day. I spent about a week and a half with him periodically through that week. Maybe we did 40, 50 hours together. That's our life. All right. And sometimes I talk about him and I'm like, oh, my old friend Randy. You know what I mean? Like when he dies, I'll probably have a eulogy for him. So it could be anybody is the point I'm trying to make, Delicate, because it could be somebody who literally had nothing but incidental contact. But, there's a picture of them on the internet so they can talk. You know what I mean? So that also has to, be held with a grain of salt.
So Brian Friedman is he is fighting the motion got struck, right?
Yeah.
And he's still arguing with the judge about it. He filed it and he was like, no, for real. This thing really happened. Like, I'm not lying. But he still won't name names. So he didn't provide any new information. He just said that he's had this information since February. Okay, that apparently a threat was made to Taylor Swift that if you don't put out a statement of support, then I'm going to release like a bunch of, a whole 10 years of text messages or whatever.
Yeah.
That threat wasn't made good on. So it's like obviously didn't amount to anything,
Yes.
Very weird. So he's been sitting on this since February also, even with all of these other filings that he's been doing. So this is brand new information to us, but it's not brand new information to him. And so why is he sitting on it?
Right, because he's obviously waiting and trying to, find the best opportunity to be a
He's waiting for a lull in social media.
Yeah.
Where people aren't covering this case anymore. Or he was probably sitting on it to wait until Justin Baldoni had some bad news or something. And just recently, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are living their best life. And so maybe he's like, okay, well, let's throw out this little tidbit that I've been sitting on forever.
Very interesting.
I don't even think it exists, though, because I think his sources he says that they are, so vaguely, he says that they're mutual friends or a close connection, a source close to Blake Lively or Taylor Swift or whatever, one of them. And that's so vague. It could be anything. These people work in an industry. They're connected close and personally to like 1,000 people.
Right.
Yeah.
It
just makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, so New Possible on the subreddit said, so they allegedly threatened to release private messages from the last 10 years if Taylor Swift didn't issue a public statement supporting Blake, but Taylor didn't release a public statement to support, and yet no private messages were leaked. Nothing's happening. They're making it up.
They're just making shit up.
Yeah, everything's fake.
Pissing people off. Why?
Why? Because they said in their whole plan that they wanted to change the narrative. If we're talking about this, we're not talking about what a dirtbag Justin Baldoni is, right?
It's not gonna win him the case though. Like it's such a bad strategy.
He's not trying to win a case. He's obviously not trying to win a case. He doesn't have a case. His evidence doesn't match his claims at any point in his entire filing.
Well, let me ask you this stupid question. Do you think, and the reason it's a stupid question is because we can't possibly know, but I'm just going to ask you, do you think that Blake Lively would settle this case ever?
No.
Under any circumstance?
I think she's too rich and too principled.
Right.
I only I only have the opinion that I have of how she feels based on. I don't really know her. I haven't been following any of
That's
her
why I
interviews.
qualified it as it's a ridiculous question.
I looked at her astrology chart.
But now you know everything.
She just seems like the sort of person who's her chart is set up in a way where she definitely prioritizes her principles, and that she definitely cares for other people.
Yeah.
And if you stoke the ember within her, right, of caring for other people and protecting other people and doing for other people and helping other people,
Yeah.
she'll never stop.
Right.
This is the sort of person that I think she is. I don't even think that the way that her chart is set up, I don't even think it really matters whether the other person needs the help. But to her, that's a purposeful driving force. When you have that many planets in Virgo, in her second house, which is her personal values, she really, really feels like she wants to be a helper in everything she does.
Yeah.
I think that's why she wants to be a producer. I think that's why she's always trying to, I think that when she was trying to help and improve the film that she's on, it's not because she's trying to gain anything. She really just wants what's best for the project. And if it elevates her career and she gets to do it again, fine. But I think that she's definitely not going to settle if it means that this guy could go and abuse somebody else in the same way.
You think that Justin Baldoni would be the helper too, with his Virgo placements.
He has his big placements are, he's definitely he wants to communicate and investigate and like analyze the darker side of the human condition. It's really interesting. He's kind of like when he's learning about other people, and you can see that he acts like this on his podcast too. When he's learning about other people, he's doing it because he wants to help it inform him and his own situation.
Uh-huh.
I think he's a helper too, but I don't think he's doing it. He's basically like on a walkabout throughout the world to try and learn something about himself, right?
Yeah.
And I think anything that he ever does is for that, to serve that purpose. And I think he also wants to be recognized, like as a beautiful person and a smart person and a well-spoken person and
I just want to be loved.
His
we're being asked by I want to say Meliscore. I'm sorry that I fucked up your name. I don't have my old man glasses on, and you're on TikTok.
And TikTok?
But, yeah. Asking, just trying to understand, are you in support of Blake Lively, and if so, why? So I'll start, if I may. And by the way, you can join us on YouTube, where you'll actually be able to see Angela, who is off camera on our lives for TikTok, but we are multicasting right now to YouTube, and you can the link's in the bio. The answer to your question is that everything that I have read, and I've read everything that they have published thus far.
Who's they?
Both parties. So whether it's
all the filings, right?
All the filings.
Yeah.
This excludes, though. I didn't read everything about from the dudes in Texas. I don't want to say their name because apparently it attracts them, and I don't want those people around. But the dude from Texas, I didn't read his. I didn't read like Sloane's first complaint, but I did read much of her subsequent filings. Anyway, I've read the evidence. Angela and I have read the evidence multiple times, and it overwhelmingly favors Blake Lively. But one of the main reasons, to answer your question, why I think Blake Lively is going to prevail in this quite easily is because Justin Baldoni owned the property. Justin Baldoni, with his company Wayfarer, Justin Baldoni entered into a contract with Sony, and Sony was a producer and a distributor and a partner in the movie. If Blake Lively stole the movie away from Justin Baldoni, she stole the movie also from Sony, and we know that didn't happen. Also, I'm with the biggest lawyers in the world, and if you don't know that why, I got into a mix-up with Leonardo DiCaprio back in the 90s, and we sued each other for tens of millions of dollars. We got all the biggest lawyers. We fought for years. We're still fighting, although not in court anymore. But I do have experience and insight into the litigation process, particularly in the entertainment industry. but civilly as well, generally. So, looking at both our cases, I think it's abundantly clear that that Blake Lively has an extremely strong case. And what we're seeing in terms of why what we're seeing when we see the public, justice for Justin, which is hilarious. He made $100-ish million on It Ends With Us. That's how much they made. Not he personally, but that's how much they made. So had he not gotten in a lawsuit, he'd have been making tens of millions of dollars himself, just himself. Tens of millions, like generational wealth. One movie. And in part, he's making that money because he not only had a great partnership with Sony, a big giant distributor, but because he was able to cast with this really attractive property one of the biggest actors in Hollywood, in Blake Lively. And she, being one of not only the biggest actors in Hollywood, but one of the most connected people in show business, period, brought the ultimate attachment that any movie could pray for. And that was Taylor Swift. So, overwhelmingly, the evidence looks like Blake Lively is not only going to prevail, but, is telling the truth.
The reason why I think that Blake Lively has a stronger case is because there's too much in Justin Baldoni's case where his lawyers literally lie about the evidence. There's at least three times in his filing that I saw that he had a paragraph describing what happened in the event, and then he showed the evidence of it, and it was literally the opposite of what is the evidence. Like, he was describing the opposite of what the evidence showed.
Right.
And so I feel like if your counsel is so, if they discredit themselves so much, and the allegation against you is that you're trying to that you're putting together a smear campaign, it seems like it's pretty in line that's just a continuation.
Yes.
They're just lying about her.
It appears
she's accusing them of lying about her, and then they just lie about her in these court filings. And it was through this case that we learned that you're actually allowed to lie. It's not defamation if you file total falsehoods about somebody in your court documents.
There are limits. You can't just lie with impunity, but there is a lot of latitude, because basically what you're saying, because basically the idea is that when you're filing, you're making allegations. So you may not have all your facts in order. You may not know the depth, the breadth and depth of a specific scenario, situation that you're bringing to light in the litigation. So there's a whole lot of latitude, but perjury can still, there's still perjury, or at least to the extent that a judge can sanction. By the way, yeah, go ahead.
Dana White Saucier on TikTok is saying
TikTok.
It isn't about the money, it's about her destroying his reputation, and that he has receipts. But that's the thing
he's
about
not showing any receipts.
That's the thing about his receipts.
He hasn't shown.
I was just saying.
He hasn't shown a single one.
The lawyer will write a narrative, and he'll claim that something happened, and he'll describe a conversation. But then they'll have what they call receipts, and it's literally not.
It's not receipts.
Anything what he's saying.
Let's go over that in 1 second. I just want to cosmic urgency. Said Neil Gaiman, because I mentioned earlier all the people that fell from such high places, and says Neil Gaiman is innocent until proven guilty, and I guess that's true for everybody. It certainly is, but it doesn't mean that he hasn't fallen. Like, I haven't seen anything in terms of like online commentary that didn't involve this scandal of his now, and he'll wear this scandal forever in the same way that Paul Rubens did his.
Oh yeah,
even though Paul Rubens wasn't like a bad guy. Yeah. He didn't do. I mean, you can say whatever you want about that act for which he was, canceled.
There's a documentary coming out at the end of this
month. I can't wait for it.
I
can't fucking wait for it. But he's a great example of what I'm talking about. So when I say fall, it's not about innocence or guilt. It's about falling. Falling in the eyes of.
You're talking about the
public.
reputation.
Yeah, and I'm talking about where it can be so bad that it's practically irreparable. Mm-hmm. Is that the right way to use that word? Should I say irreparable?
No, I think you said it right.
Is that all right if I say irreparable?
Irreparable.
did I take a shortcut? I don't want to take shortcuts. I'm supposed to be a writer. If you don't know why I'm supposed to be a writer, it's because I put this book out called Too Real, a Hollywood memoir, which you can pick up at Amazon or at my book site called toorealbook.com, where I'm offering 50 and 20% off the various formats. Go get it. Go get it.
Melis followed up, said, don't you think it's odd that Blake Lively filed a complaint and took it to the New York Times rather than filing with the courts?
Well, I think first of all, she did both. But the reason why she had to, or why she felt like she had to go to the New York Times, it seems, is because she had already, at that point, gotten a hold of the data from Jennifer Abel's phone, which was seized by Sloan, her boss. And it was on that phone that Blake Lively learned that the trouble that she was in had nothing to do with what she thought it was, which was that that there was this public rift between she and Baldoni, and that it's between her and Baldoni, and that they were, they had gone their separate ways for the press junkets. And there was a bunch of bad press, if you recall, during that. And of course, that some of that bad press being that she was difficult to work with. Well, what she later learned...
That was also part of their plan that they had written out.
Yeah, they literally had written out that they were going to market her or publicize her, propagandize her.
As being difficult to work with.
As being difficult to work with and being a bully. These were the two very specific things that we know from their evidence that they submitted. It's on their website and we can go watch it and read it right now. And in fact, on Monday, we will... when we're talking about this, because I'm going to have all the media hooked up by Monday. So for the YouTube, anyway, not for TikTok, because TikTok's pain in my ass right now. Sorry about that.
Okay, just to get back. So Blake Lively filed a complaint before she filed with the courts because that's the protocol that she had to follow. That's one thing that you guys should know. That specific type of complaint in the state of California, she had to file.
She had to get a right to sue, it's called.
Yes.
So she to obtain a right to sue, she had to file that. But the reason she went to the New York Times, which is really the crux of your question, the reason she went to the New York Times is because she was defending herself against what she believed was a publicity attack by Justin Baldoni, which she learned only because Jennifer Abel, fucking biggest fumble ever, decides she's going to leverage her opportunity and try to get out of this company with Sloan, with a few clients in her pocket, including Wayfair. And the whole thing backfired on all of them because it revealed instead that they were up to things that were incredibly nefarious. And so that's why I think that that Blake Lively reacted the way she did, and I don't blame her. By the way, think about who she went to. It's not just the New York Times, it's Megan Twohey, right? She didn't just to get Megan Twohey to do a piece, it's not just because you're famous, it's because you're going to have something that's incredibly important. And boy, is it. Everybody's watching this thing, everybody's paying attention to it. There are, there's a certain division amongst people over it. So Megan Twohey, once again, right there, thrust in the middle of a very important dialogue that happens to surround topics of misogyny and
Megan Twohey's whole beat is about powerful people retaliating against their victims for speaking out. That's her whole thing. That's been her whole thing. She broke the Harvey Weinstein case with her partner, whose name I'm forgetting right now, but she co-wrote the book She Said about it. I recommend everybody read it. It's a really good book. That one and Catch and Kill by Ronan Farrow is also amazing about the Harvey Weinstein case.
Yeah.
But they detail the things that Harvey Weinstein would do in order to ruin the reputations and the careers of the people who spoke out against his wrongdoing.
That's right.
And so that's, of course, when she sees this very clear evidence from Baldoni's own publicists about a smear campaign against her, she knows just exactly who wants to tell that story.
That's right.
And Megan Twohey's just reporting on it. She's not involved in creating some sort of bad reputation for Baldoni. She's reporting on evidence that Blake Lively brought her, evidence that she received from Baldoni's own publicist.
That's right.
So I don't see that there's any wrongdoing. I'm glad that she spoke up. Hopefully she made Hollywood a little bit safer. I don't know if you guys remember the Me Too movement. It was just a little while ago, but this was exactly what we were hoping people were going to do as a result of that.
That's right.
We were hoping that people were going to stand up and speak out and not fall for intimidation tactics and support people who were speaking out against wrongdoing. That's exactly what Blake Lively's doing, and I just think it's really shameful that people are beating her up about it instead of seeing where this goes. You know, the whole thing about believing women is that you're supposed to follow the evidence that they're providing, not, you know, destroy them for standing up and speaking out. And, you know, you're supposed to believe people who come forward with allegations so that you can investigate it. But he's got this big machine, and he's got a billionaire in Sarowitz who's like just hell-bent on destroying her for daring to try and make movie sets a safer place to work. And I just think it's so transparent. I don't know why anybody's falling for it.
One of the biggest things that that like one of the biggest red flags about this whole thing for me, and why I thought that and why I immediately began feeling suspicious about all of it was because of the petty grievances that were being aired, like this wardrobe thing.
Like the wardrobe thing
drives me.
That was the first thing. That was our like our introduction into this whole case, because I remember you heard about this and you're like, what kind of a fucking bullshit complaint is like a star wants to control her wardrobe? Like, that happens every day.
It drove me crazy, because the reason it drove me crazy is because I knew, and this was before they had actually released any texts from the line producer, but I knew that, you know, the wardrobe isn't going to be any kind of deal breaker for anybody unless you're dealing with like some kind of like, unless you're dealing with something like Lord of the Rings or some major heavy period piece like Game of Thrones or fantasy and period or whatever. But if you're dealing with a contemporary movie, wardrobe is just not going to be any kind of major problem on any budget. And so I had said that from the onset, and I found that to be a red flag about, like, why would they, pardon me, air such a grievance when we all know in the business that's bullshit?
Because we learned
that
their whole strategy was to make her difficult to work with.
Well, and they wanted to. Well, and they also wanted to take advantage of what people don't know.
Yeah.
They want to take advantage. So then, you know, months later, finally, we get the texts. The texts get released, and we see that the line producer, in his texts, not complaining about the budget, but saying, "Hey, we got to reload the card."
That's it.
And if you got to reload the card in production, then budget isn't the problem, because you wouldn't ask to reload the card. There would literally be a meeting held immediately if things were so far over budget that, you know, the studio would interject if the studio's money was involved. In this case, that studio money is way fair.
The line producer did say that we are overspending for the
but overspending
for Blake and Justin's combined wardrobe. And he was like, I've never really overspent this fast on this sort of thing. Just letting you guys know, like, that's where we're at. Yeah,
well, you know, when you go asking for money in Hollywood, you have to have a good reason for it. And you know, because budgets are budgets. But here's why that's important. So their budget was $25 million. And after you know, the math is going to be a little fudgy for me right now because I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but I did the math at the time. And here's what I learned. I learned that it didn't even cut in too substantially to the contingency of the budget for the wardrobe. So on $25 million, a $25 million budget, you're going to have about, you know, on the higher end, maybe, well, not even on the higher end, $1.5 to $2 million is going to be your contingency. On the lower end, your contingency is going to be not less than 900, 800, 750,000. I would go the lowest 750,000. The most after returns on the wardrobe that they were going to be out in terms of budget was going to be $500,000. That would be the most. Now, in all likelihood, this budget had a contingency of at least $1.25 million or $1.25 million. That would leave you know, a full $750,000 of that emergency or contingency budget literally put in place for these exact reasons. For these exact reasons. Like, that's why you have it. You have it because you never know when the wardrobe is gonna need some extra money. And here's the other thing about this whole thing. Then came the criticism on Blake Lively about this wardrobe and the staff going to her house. Her house, which was less than 10 minutes away from the production office. Her house, where she, postpartum.
That is a huge detail that is very deliberately missed in Baldoni's filing.
It's the most ridiculous part of it to me.
Yeah,
She's already
explains a lot.
She's already complaining about discomfort on the set, feeling
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
she thinks he's being a creep.
People being inappropriate. Well, even if we take it more lightly, then she thinks he's being a creep, and we just go with everyone's like.
She's complained about how she doesn't feel like she has privacy.
So she says, hey, let me try all my clothes at home where I can feel safe, where I can feel comfortable, where it's only a few minutes away from the production
where I don't have
office.
to find childcare for. She has got a brood of kids.
I mean, you don't really have to worry so much about childcare when you're rich, but yeah, better that you're there than the nanny. But you see what I'm saying? Like, this is all fucking bullshit. Oh, Katie's here. Nadine isn't on because she's busy watching TV while sitting next to her daughter, me. Oh.
Isn't that adorable?
I've been missing you, Nadine. I'm just telling you, man. How about that earthquake, by the way? We
didn't talk about the earthquake.
We didn't talk about this earthquake.
It must have happened over the weekend.
We're in Athens, Georgia, and we were just sitting there, and all of a sudden we're laying in bed, actually, 9:30 in the morning or something.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we hear there's like a thud.
I didn't want you to admit it, but I guess
it was good and late. It was like a thud, and then a
yeah.
And then I looked over to Angela, and I was like, "Was that a cute little earthquake?" Because it was just such an adorable little
I know.
earthquake.
So Dale and I both lived in LA for like 20 years before we moved here, and then so we're used to earthquakes. We've both experienced different varieties of earthquakes.
Yeah.
There's like different kinds, and you get to know them if you live in an earthquake zone.
Yeah.
But when it started shaking here, I was like, oh, that feels just like an earthquake. How weird that it's an earthquake here. But we just went about our morning like, whatever, I guess that was an earthquake. And it turned out to be, but then it occurred to me later that it's just the sort of thing that we would do. We would just decide it's an earthquake when really it could have been like Atlanta got bombed or something.
Yeah, but this had all the earthquakes. It had the pop. And then
yes,
the whoop,
I know,
pop,
but
pop.
it could have been like a horrible disaster happened. Yeah. And we'd just be like, what'd you get? Look at that. That was an earthquake.
Well, it's so funny because like in LA, I was sitting almost right on top of a 5.4. That was the most frightening earthquake I was ever in, and I was there for the 7.5 or 7.8 that hit Bakersfield.
Really?
That rocked us all pretty hard.
So it was less on the Richter scale, and it was scarier
by 200 fold, but it was so scary because I was on top of it. So when we were on top of it, the crack was so loud that like my heart stopped. It was just smack, and then the house just whack whack whack. Like I mean, it shook
blown out with air.
So violently. It shook so violently. It was crazy. This was the 5.4. Like I was terrified.
So it was like one of those ones that like tremors.
No, that was it. Went no, it just
like
hit,
shook like this.
It just smack, and
you
then
should
violently
do the movement,
rattled.
though. What was it?
Why?
I'm just curious because there's a bunch of different.
Well,
kinds.
because the one that was the Bakerfield one that was hundreds of miles away. That one was this big wild wobble. It was like we were on this like giant wave going
like
back
on a
and
ship
forth
or something. I think it's interesting to describe these things for people who have never experienced an earthquake. I was waiting tables once in Burbank at the Coral Cafe. I don't know if you guys have ever been there.
The good old Coral Cafe, people.
And we had a bunch of tourists at a table who were like, "Hey, we're just visiting LA." They wanted to tell us all about it. You know how cute tourists are. And they were in the corner booth, and I was carrying this big tray of all of their drinks over to them when we had an earthquake. And it happened like 2 seconds after I had just set down all of their drinks. So everything was on the table. Like I didn't spill anything, but the earthquake happened, and it spilled all the drinks because it was like a little rumble, and then it was like a shift. Have you ever felt one of those?
Oh fuck!
Where it's like it just basically like it's like somebody
the plate shifts. The whole.
It's like the whole building just sort of like.
Oh sure, yeah, it's crazy.
It's really freaky.
It's so scary.
And they all squealed so loud.
I'll have a video to play about that later when we have our BD up.
Poor tourists.
I saved one. Yeah, it's nuts. By the way, Stefan said that he thinks the YouTube looks great. That's awesome. I am going to change that background though. I got to find the right background. I spent hours on it.
Just find one that doesn't look like a dirty floor, and you're good. God. Sometimes I watch those floor scrubbing videos. You know how people really like the power washing videos?
Yeah.
The floor scrubbing ones are really good too. And as soon as I saw this background,
one of the best video games on Steam is apparently the power washing sim. Can you believe this shit? Like people are buying power washing simulators and they love it. I might get it.
You put this dirty floor up, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what products you should use on that. I've seen those videos.
We're good, Stefan. I hope you're good, man. It's good to see you back. Really lovely having you. By the way, if you haven't joined us on YouTube, you can check it out. And if you, the one thing about hanging out with us on YouTube is you'll get to see Angela. She is the real attraction. And also, you'll be able to hear us in a little nicer manner than there's Nadine on.
Hey, Nadine.
Yeah, Nadine's on TikTok. I mean, on
Hey,
YouTube.
do you understand this question?
I don't know.
Okay, Jacqueline W. on YouTube is asking, can you explain what they are calling the sham Van Zandt lawsuit to get the subpoena for text messages? Do you understand that question?
No.
Van Zandt.
No, I'll look that up. I don't know what that is.
I am.
But they're going to have a
blanking on
real.
what that is.
If you're talking about the the subpoena to get Taylor Swift's messages and emails, is that what that's about?
Sure. Let's just explore that. Can you explain what they're calling the sham Van Zandt lawsuit to get the subpoena for text messages? I think the problem that Brian Friedman is experiencing in all of the cases that he's got pending in that court.
Yeah.
With Baldoni and against the New York Times and against Leslie Sloan and all of these, is that he's not being clear. He's not naming names, and he's not identifying exact quotes. And this is a problem because they're in the discovery phase of the lawsuit where they need to be sharing everything. Like, everybody who is defending themselves from his lawsuit needs to know what they're defending themselves against. And so there's a lot of really frustrated lawyers on the other side, and the judge apparently, according to his filing, is also getting frustrated with the fact that Brian Friedman is still keeping this information close to the chest, and this is information that's like completely, like, his case hinges on it. So I think that what they're calling a sham is that they don't believe this stuff exists. It would look the same to the court if he had just made it up out of thin air, because he's giving that much actual concrete information, which is none.
Right. Nadine, she asks, she said that she sent you a court record.
Oh, sweet.
You haven't seen it?
You know just what to get me. All I want for Christmas is court records.
That's exactly what I wanted.
I haven't seen it yet. Thank you.
Thank you for the likes on YouTube. I see likes on YouTube. I've not seen that yet.
Tanner said the power washing sim is amazing.
Is it? Do you have a Steam Deck, Tanner? We got to hook up if you're gaming online. We got to like do some co-ops.
Nadine said about the earthquake, I thought the cat was on the bed scratching. I was surprised. That's what I thought so too. I was like, this dog is kicking really, really hard.
I knew what it was pretty much immediately. I mean, obviously I was a little shocked by it because I hadn't been in an earthquake since LA, maybe 20 years ago.
Stefan said earthquakes sound mind-blowingly scary. They're kind of fun, like roller coaster fun, where you're like, oh, haha, we could die.
I hated
when they're
them.
happening.
Yeah.
But the problem with earthquakes is that if you live in an earthquake zone, you understand that there's foreshocks or aftershocks, and there's no way to predict them. So you could have a really scary earthquake and be like, haha, it's over. I'm so glad that we're okay and that there's not like a giant crack in the building. But it could be a foreshock for something really major, and nobody knows.
What's interesting is that earthquakes are, ones that we feel at least are relatively rare, especially on the west coast. Like on the west coast, they're relatively rare, meaning like, I lived there, 15 years, and I think I lived through like maybe 4 of them, that where I was like, oh, shit, that was a fucking earthquake, or like where I was actually scared. Yeah,
it'll be like years between them, like 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, it's relatively rare, but like, I forget where I was going. I fucking lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Stefan said that earthquakes sound mind-blowingly scary. And
yeah.
then I was talking about how they could be foreshocks.
Well, they're relatively rare, but so here's where I was going. Is they're relatively rare, but then I had these friends visiting from Canada, and I was like, look, you're coming down to the United States. They came down. Sorry, they were in my apartment. They were going to stay for 4 nights, 5 days, and I was like, yo, don't sleep naked, because I knew.
Oh yeah, that's a rule.
I know these guys, and I know I knew these guys, and I knew there would be a chance they would sleep naked, and I was like, don't sleep naked. Because, if we get an earthquake preparedness, I'd only been in LA. I don't even know how long at that point, maybe 3 years or something.
Yeah, it's like a simple thing. Like if you live in Southern California, you anchor all of your tall bookshelves to the wall.
Sure.
Like it's just earthquake preparedness. You sleep with your shoes near your bed. Some pair of shoes, not the ones you use every day maybe, but you have to make sure you got your shoes nearby so that you can flee. It's just what we do.
So they didn't take my advice.
They didn't take your advice.
No, and so my friend's girlfriend, she slept naked, and then we get hit with the Bakersfield quake, and that thing hit, and the whole apartment just rocked like crazy, and it was super scary. Artie Robb, who lived on Moore Park, we were on Riverside, and it's actually one street over, but it's like 3 blocks over, and he has to go all the way around because of the LA River goes through there. So he had to like go all the way around. It was like a terrible thing for him to get to us. He finally got to us. He ran to us at like 3 a.m. or whatever. That's how scared he was. He didn't drive. He fucking ran. He was so scared.
It is really
He
easy.
lived through Northridge, though, and Northridge was like a no-joke kind of earthquake.
It is like, yeah, that's really funny that he was like woken up by an earthquake and then he was like, okay, time to go for a walk.
He was alone. Well, he was alone, and so he ran to my apartment.
It is really motivating to get out of your house.
So my friend's standing there. So they wake up, and this woman is trying to keep the sheets on because she's naked,
Well,
but she's getting tossed. And I scream at her because, like, I don't know how bad this thing is, but it's the most violent earthquake I've been in terms of movement, right? It wasn't like the shaking of the 5.4, but I mean, I thought the apartment was going to topple over. That's how much we were moving. Cabinets were flailing and shit was falling out of the cabinets. I mean, it was bad. And I tell her because she's get tossed around. She gets slammed into the wall, and I scream, "Let the fucking sheet go!" Because she's gonna fucking get really seriously hurt. So of course she had to drop the sheet. So she's standing there naked now, and she's trying to like deal with this earthquake. And I'm like, I told you
how humiliating
not to do that. And she was just obviously humiliated.
Poor lady.
So then that earthquake had like 3 or 4 like serious aftershocks after that. And but she was
They're
close.
scary because you don't know if it's going to be bigger.
It was the first night that they were here.
Here, that's cute.
Sorry, it was the first night that we were there. That they were there. First night we were at my place.
Because our heart is still in Los Angeles. That's true.
And they were supposed to spend 4 more nights or 3 more nights, and they left immediately. They were gone. I was like, dude, you lived through the earthquake. It's over. Fuck you, I'm gone. They jumped in the car. They headed north, and I got a call 4 hours later, 5 hours later, and he's like, the whole fucking state is on fire. There was a bunch of like wildfires all through the 101 as he was heading up.
It was like a tour of disasters.
I was like, man, let's just hope you don't get a mudslide before you get out of here.
That's terrible. Did they end up okay? I bet they tell the story still too.
Oh my god, fucking Stefan loves. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get the fucking stupid paint. On the summer sale, I'm gonna get it. The paint sim. Besides, right now I'm playing Expedition 33, Claire Expedition 33. It's fucking insane. What else you got? We got more stuff to talk about. I know I just accosted it with this earthquake talk, but I can't believe we had an earthquake. It was so crazy.
Hello, bud.
It was kind of cool, but yeah, we're losing everybody. Everyone's like, you know what? Fuck your stupid earthquake stories. We want the tea.
Nobody wants to hear about your earthquakes.
I feel so bad for Justin Bieber. I really do. I think it's sad. What else you got, Angela? Okay. I know we got to get to the Karen retrial eventually. We're at 8:00 so far.
Okay, here we go. I have some information about the Karen retrial.
What do you got?
If you want it. Today was very weird. Today was a weird day. Yesterday was weird because we heard from the medical examiner finally.
Yeah.
First time they ever showed in this whole trial so far. In this retrial, it was the first time that they showed the jury what pictures of John O'Keefe's dead body and the wounds that he wore when he was discovered. And it's like usually for a murder trial, they start with that.
Yeah.
Really weird that they waited this long.
Well, you know.
Anyway, they found the medical examiner.
It's not so weird when the evidence, that's some of their weakest part of the case.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to hang this. They're trying to send this woman to jail because she, in a frantic, drunken state, asked a reasonable question of herself. Did I do this? That's all that this whole thing stems on, a woman being drunk and uncertain about what had happened, when all of the evidence proves very, very easily that I think it proves it. I mean, dude. So we'll get into it deeply, but the fucking medical examiner, the medical fucking examiner is sitting on the stand saying, when asked very specifically, did you check for any wounds that are relevant, bruising, broken bones, or whatever that would be relevant to a car crash? And this woman and this department have seen, what, hundreds of them? Hundreds of them.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's talking about. She sees these impact sites. She knows what they're like. And she's sitting on the stage, and here's the coolest thing. This is the state's witness. Mm-hmm. This is the Commonwealth's witness. She's sitting there, and, Cross was asked, did you see any of these impact areas on John O'Keefe's body? And before she could answer, the Commonwealth objected. to their own witness, and the forthcoming answer they knew, obviously through their discovery, that was about to happen. And sure enough, she saw nothing. She knows nothing of there's no. How did they take this thing? How did they get this thing to fucking trial?
I don't know. Because here's the thing, dude. If it was like any other victim in any other case, like, you know, the John O'Keefe in a different city is found on somebody's front lawn, right, with the injuries that he has.
Right.
And if the investigators have to put together a case, what they're going to start with is what is the victim wounded with? Like, how was the victim wounded? Then they figure out, how did he end up here? Who did he know? Who was the last person to see him? But the very first thing that they do is they look at the body. When they have a body, they look at the body and they hope that the body will tell them the story about what happened to the body.
And they certainly, it's certainly the first thing, and then the very next thing they're going to do is everything that's around the body.
Yeah, or like, who was the last person to see them, right? They identify them so that they can talk
The
to
location.
the people.
Where's
that
the body?
last saw
Why
them.
is the body here?
Yeah,
Like, why is the body here?
right.
Was the body dumped here? Did the body land here? Is this the site of the actual accident or incident?
Mm-hmm. And so,
by the way, hello, JW. Thanks for coming in.
this, his autopsy photos are old news because there was a first trial that everybody saw them.
Yeah.
And when I first saw those photos, I was like, oh, okay, well, these wounds did not happen as a result of getting bonked or knocked over by the back of somebody's SUV. Like,
Right.
Obviously, that is not what caused these wounds. So this whole time, this whole beginning of this case where the jury has been hearing all about Karen Reed and Karen Reed's car and Karen Reed's damage on the back of her car and where she was and how she was driving and all of this and where she saw him last, it's irrelevant to the case because here we have this guy's body does not show any evidence of having been struck by her car or any other car. And so yesterday was really interesting because the medical examiner finally confirmed that, because I didn't know. Well, I don't know anything, but the medical examiner was like, yeah, there's no evidence that he was struck. He is not wounded at all from his armpits down. His arms have wounds. The side of his knee on the same side of his arm wounds has a scratch. But he doesn't have any internal injuries that were not caused by the CPR and attempts to resuscitate him.
Well, I have a question for you because I obviously was working all day trying to get the lives going, and I'm doing all this tech work and all this stuff. And by the way, I got an update. I also met with the people from Oregon about doing doing 2 Real Live in Oregon.
I should talk about that after this.
So stay tuned for that. But my question to you is that I heard, I guess it was when they were on break because you were watching Core TV, and they had that town hall thing going on.
You're calling me out, bro.
And while you're doing work, you're doing the Lord's work. So on that they said something.
I'm not like a fan or anything.
On that, they said something about all the injuries were on the right side of the body.
Yes.
So but you're saying what you're saying seems different.
Except for his head. So he has a bunch of wounds down his right arm, and then he has one abrasion on his right knee. But on the left side of his body, his hands and legs and everything's fine.
So nothing on like the hip, nothing on the ribs, nothing on the shoulders.
No, the ribs were broken in the front at the sternum, which is really common when people have to do CPR. And then he had that machine, which we learned about yesterday. I learned about for the first time yesterday. It's called a Lucas machine, where it's like, in order for them to continue CPR hands off, they put this machine on the victim, the patient. Yeah. And it's basically like a big pile driver. It's like a big jackhammer that just continues to do chest compressions. And the medical examiner said that as a result of that, he had broken ribs at his sternum, specifically, not on the side, like where you might get struck by a car, but like specifically right at the sternum, right?
Yeah.
Which is not at car height, not at SUV height. And he had some sort of bruising or bleeding on his stomach lining and his pancreatic tissue, which is also really very common, she said, when they use the Lucas machine. Because it really just presses deep into your chest. Pretty gnarly. Apparently,
so those injuries. So apart from everything that I did see, which was the arm injury, I didn't know about this thing on the knee.
And then he has an injury to the back of his head.
Well, that's the one of the major contributors to his passing, right?
What's weird about that is that he also has scratches on the front of his face. So it's not just that he was thrown back and he hit the back of his head. Someone harmed the front of his face too. He has a long laceration above his eye, and then he also had some glass that was stuck in his, like, at the side of his nose.
That Karen Reed pulled out?
Yeah, she said it was stuck in the side of his nose when she found him on the ground.
Where would the glass come from? Because the lens isn't glass.
No, it's a glass from a cocktail glass, apparently. Or they assumed, because he was holding a cocktail. He left her car with a cocktail glass in hand. Anyway, well, that was yesterday. Today, the big bombshell. Today, they were just talking to more witnesses that, like, they had an expert who worked at the laboratory that, so they were doing a lot of, like, evidence organizing for the jury, like a bunch of pieces of taillight. Again, why are we even looking at taillight? He wasn't struck by a car. But they had that witness. But during, in the absence of the jury, they were talking about this new evidence that they're just introducing at this late stage in the trial. That is, the timeline has been adjusted. The Commonwealth has decided that it was real problematic for their case that the timeline of when John O'Keefe last used his cell phone didn't match up with the timeline that Karen Reed's car backed up. They wanted it to line up. Obviously, that would make their case. But the timeline didn't. John O'Keefe had apparently been using his phone after they alleged that he was struck by Karen Reed's car. Today they asked, the judge ruled on whether they were allowed to introduce a new timeline where they match up.
Right.
And so the defense was like, you can't just, like, change stuff. Like, we have a right to a defense. We're supposed to know what the allegations are at the beginning of the trial so we can prepare.
Yeah.
Here you guys are introducing this new timeline. This is obviously something that we believe is bogus. And even if it isn't bogus, like, we need to be able to bring our own witnesses. They also had a problem. They're like, we're going to have to call back witnesses that we already questioned because we questioned them on this old timeline. Like, we're supposed to be providing the jury with what the truth is. If we don't know what the truth is because you guys did some new analytical stuff and your timeline changed, then we can't mount a defense.
Did you already just mention that they've changed it 4 times?
They've changed it 4 times. This is the 4th time. Right in the middle of the the trial is ongoing. So
it's their fucking second trial.
They would have a really good argument for a mistrial because of this.
And not is it their second trial, but and they're introducing these new timelines. Mm-hmm. But on top of this, we're seeing new evidence of people who shouldn't be in a blizzard during a blizzard at the precinct, rooting through cars and whatever else, and speaking on the phone. And there's not even clarity exactly on who that is. Some say it's Higgins, others say it might be Alfred. And if it's Alfred,
surveillance.
Then,
Hey, can you come over here?
So there's all this new evidence, which I just find like literally undiscovered evidence.
Yeah, like new videos and stuff.
Something I saw today that I thought was very compelling in the trial was all the conversation surrounding this was actually I was watching some rerun stuff, and it was that officer, I can't remember his name, but he was fucking talking about how they didn't go and get any of the CT footage, or I guess it's like it's not CT footage technically, but it's like a ring.
That was days ago, but yeah, the guy was like, yeah, well, we saw that there was all of the surveillance footage from people's, like, ring cameras or whatever, personal surveillance property cameras that people have in this neighborhood. But he was like, yeah, but we just didn't even really look for it because we didn't think it was going to catch any of this stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, meh, we didn't need it.
What's up, Jenna? So good to see you as always. And yeah, Nadine hit it right when I don't know when her comment came up, but we were both on it right at the same time. Yeah, like new evidence. Like Nadine was just talking about how Brian Higgins is going back and forth, but we don't even know that that's Brian Higgins.
Right. There's a lot of people who think that looks like Brian Albert. But anyway, so today about this new timeline. Okay. Yeah. So the defense was like,
is that what it is?
The defense was asking the judge, like, okay, you can't allow this. This isn't admissible, right? Like, we're in the middle of a trial. Like, this is really unusual, and this is obviously cause for a mistrial. And the judge allowed it. So people are saying that it's a big blow to Karen Reed's case because they're going to try and present this evidence as if the last time that John O'Keefe used his phone and presumably was able to use his phone was right when Karen Reed backed up. And they're saying that it's because she backed up into him.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is that I think it's to Karen Reed's benefit because her whole defense is that this police, this police station and all these officers are doing shenanigans and they're trying to frame my client.
Yeah.
And they are allowed now to show the jury that there's a new timeline and new evidence being presented. And here, everybody, you can see there's more shenanigans.
Yeah,
look at how all of these officers are behaving. Look at how this defense and how the Commonwealth is trying to...
They're changing their story.
They're changing their story to fit their narrative.
To fit their narrative. They literally got a new witness who contradicted their earlier evidence. So what did they do? They changed the fucking evidence. They changed the evidence.
I think it's going to benefit them.
But and look, the reason why you're going to have the amount of effort that the defense put in to try and get it stricken is because that's basis for appeal. You're not going to be able to go and appeal on that unless you can appeal on it no matter what, I suppose. But they're setting the basis for appeal right there, because what they're saying is that the first 14 days of this trial are now completely fucking skewed or tainted in some way, because they were asking questions relative to a different timeline. And so, I mean, that is just, I don't look, do you think even now, do you think sitting here today that they're going to get a murder 2 on this?
No, absolutely not.
A murder 2 conviction? And by the way, they didn't
this
get
jury
a murder.
is like, what is this messy ass trial?
It's fucking bad.
And also the judge said that she's going to give, to make the medicine go down a little bit nicer. She said that the defense is going to have ample opportunity to question and take apart whatever this new timeline is and these experts that apparently prepared it. So she just set it up for even more fighting. The jury's going to be like, what is this mess?
I just don't think that there's a chance in hell that they're going to get a murder 2, and I don't think they're going to get the manslaughter either. I think the best case scenario for the prosecutor, and it's going to be a loss, is a hung jury, because they're not going to try her a third time. But I don't see any way.
They need to present their evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. They need to present their evidence like they know exactly what happened, exactly how it happened, and who did it.
Exactly.
And they haven't been doing that.
They haven't done that.
I don't care about Karen Reed's freaking taillight. I don't care about her anything to do with her car, because the medical examiner was very clear.
Also, and somebody brought this up on that Court TV town hall style thing that was going on, but you have what did they say? 40 plus shards, and
yes,
not one of them on the body.
They were also found apparently whoever planted the shards of taillight on the lawn didn't know where the body was found, because they put it like 20 feet away.
Well, and
30 feet away.
And what's interesting about that is the amount of effort or lack of effort there was.
Hey, can you shut up, bro?
To document where exactly each piece was found, so that they can forensically make sense of it. Yeah. And there were and the fucking testimony from the cop is, well, I was in the general vicinity,
That's
so
not
that
good
was
enough, man.
That was what I thought.
What is this? You guys have a job to do. I wrote that down. It's an investigation. You know what's the weirdest thing about this whole case for me? I have to keep reminding myself, because nobody seems to be remembering who's involved in the trial, that this is a cop. Like, how are they not investigating the apparent murder of a police officer a little bit better than this?
It's a cop.
That's why it's suspicious.
Look, you brought up something earlier today that I thought was really, really fucking amazing, and it wasn't something that I had actually thought about, but you brought up today. You were like, so let me get this straight. Like, a cop dies, they find the cop dead with serious bleeding and bruising, they find him dead on the lawn. It's a cop, and they're not going to go and make sure that the other cops in that house
there could have been like a massacre happening, right? Hey, come here. I don't know why he hates podcasting is what the problem is. Come here.
There could have been a fucking a massacre. We don't know. Why did these police officers assume that everything was copacetic in that house?
I don't know.
Why did they think everybody was safe when they immediately thought that something was wrong here? They couldn't have immediately thought that it was a drinking and driving case, because there was no car. They had a body. They didn't have any other reason to believe that there was anything other than violence that landed this guy where he was. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's no other evidence.
Like he was bashed in the back of his head.
He was bashed in the back of his head.
This dog is bored. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're off camera. Angela's not on anybody's camera because she's playing with dogs.
He's just so bored. I don't want him groaning in your podcasting.
Yeah, Nadine says case not made, period. That is the bottom line. It's their job to prove them guilty, and they're not. They're not doing that. That's another thing about the whole like lively Baldoni case is that everything coming out of Baldoni's face has no substance behind it. Like everything that they're accusing Blake Lively of, they don't have anything substantive to prove.
Why is it?
Just all these fucking cases? They come to all these cases are brought to fucking trial, and they have like the flimsiest fucking weakest evidence I've ever seen. I can't believe it.
Why is Brian Friedman, why does he give a shit at all whether Taylor Swift and Blake Lively are friends? Like, why the fuck are we supposed to care what he thinks about anything to do with that topic?
It's ridiculous.
Like it's just so crazy. Shameless.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh man, it's good hanging out with you guys. If you haven't liked or subscribed on YouTube, we'd appreciate you doing that. We've got 7 people on we have 16 views on our YouTube live. I'm so excited about the YouTube live, because next week we get into pumping in the media into the YouTube live. So I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully you guys will come back and see some of that stuff. But anyway, so glad to be here with you guys. Yeah, we're talking Karen Reed Hawthorne. What's up, man? How's it going? Thank you for coming by. Please hang out. We are having a good time. You can also check us out on YouTube if you want, where you'll be able to hear, not only hear the lovely lady off camera, Angela Carvalho, but you'll be able to see her as well. And you can get to that with my link in my bio.
Delicate's like, yeah, John O'Keefe would have lower body injuries if he was hit by a freaking car.
And Delicate would know. I mean, she's a medical professional. She would know. I mean, she's obviously, not a doctor or whatever, but she lives in the world. And I would trust her over, most of the people they're fucking presenting over there. But you know what? It's interesting because, there's Delicate saying that, and then you have the coroner not confirming the DA's story. Not supporting the DA's claims. Just not doing it.
Oh, Cosmic Urgency has just reminded you. Yesterday you said that you wanted to be reminded to tell us about your Kevin Smith story.
Oh, well, Angela will have to pull it out of the book, I suppose, and then I'll read it to you. Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah.
What
or you
part?
Can tell the story.
Oh, I know which story I was going to tell you about the Kevin Smith story. This is the fucking worst. So Don's Plum. Okay, well, I'm just going to do this for you now then. So Don's Plum, we go out with Don's Plum, and we're getting all kinds of attention. And one of the biggest suitors was Miramax, and so we were suddenly thrust into Miramax's world. So I was getting invited to all these Miramax parties. I got like Chasing Amy premiere, like all this fucking shit, meeting all these people that are in the Miramax family, if you will. It was pretty cool. In fact, in one of those occasions, I got to meet Harvey, and he, was like, "Oh my God," he didn't say, "Oh my God," he wouldn't. He said, "Very smart filmmaking." That's all he said. He just shook my hand and said, "Very smart filmmaking," which, at the time, this guy was a fucking icon. He was not known as the monster he truly is. So it was just an immense compliment at the time. But I've digressed. The point I'm trying to make is that what was the point I was trying to make on that?
You were telling a Kevin Smith story.
And so all the shit hits the fan with Don's Plum. Thank you, Angela. All the shit hits the fan with Don's Plum. Things blow up, and RD is dating Amy Israel, and Amy Israel, who's now his wife, RD's wife and mother to his 2 children. Amy Israel runs into Kevin Smith, and they had just published Kevin Smith's Clerks screenplay in book form, and so she knew she was going to be seeing Kevin Smith that day, so she brought the book for him to sign for her, and he signed in her book. I'm gonna have to just give you the sum and substance of it, because I don't know, I can't quote it exactly, but in her book, Kevin Smith wrote, basically telling her to ditch RD. This was after everything blew up. And of course, Kevin Smith was reasonably close with Ethan Suplee. That's how I met Kevin Smith. That's how I met Jay Muse and Jason Lee and all those guys. All the Scientologists, mostly I met through Ethan Suplee.
So he knew they had a relationship?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And he said, you should break up with your...
He knew they were serious.
You should break up with your boyfriend?
He said you should get rid of Artie Robb. He's a fucking scumbag, and he never. But he wrote it in the book. He said you need to dump RD. he's bad news.
He inscribed the
he
book?
inscribed the book to Amy Israel.
I would love to see that.
A fucking jerk off, man.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking low class.
I was so fucking furious at that point. I was like, dude, you're a loser.
So
I was
she,
like, first of all, like,
so she got the book back and she's like, "Are you fucking pissed at me? Like, why would you do something?"
and she ended up marrying him. And you know, the craziest part about that is just like Kevin Smith that didn't know us.
That's so
Like,
it's
we
so
knew him
fucking high school
peripherally, right? We knew him peripherally. I hung out with him fucking a handful of times. And when I say I hung out with him, I never even spent a lot of time with the guy. Like, I wasn't like sitting around like, being chummy with Kevin Smith. We were at parties or wherever, restaurants or wherever. I'd be like, yeah, what's up? Yeah. I was way more chummy with Jay Muse. And I knew that it was true also for Kevin Smith and Artie Robb. So for him to fucking do that, scum move, straight scum move. Anyway,
Yeah, so he wasn't even like involved. He had that strong of an opinion about it, but he had no involvement whatsoever.
Yeah, it was all because of, and this is where...
So he was just like spreading gossip and being shitty to her
this is
for
how
no
we get
reason.
into the cliquey thing, the cliquey, sort of aspects of Hollywood.
It's
is
so
that
obnoxious.
It was Ethan Suplee who, whatever Ethan had said to him successfully was...
Well...
Silent Bob was not silent.
We should ask him about it.
Who, Kevin Smith?
Yeah.
I fucking don't give a shit about that dude at all. I do not care about him.
The question would be, yo, what's your fucking problem, bro?
I literally have, like, I don't give a flying fuck about Kevin Smith. Look, I wish him all the success, and I've never not wished him any success. And I appreciate his movies even if I'm not a fan, and I'm not. I don't really find his movies my style, and whatever. It's just a personal thing, whatever. I thought Clerks was, I thought it was a good movie, like for everything that it was worth, but I didn't think it was like some kind of breakthrough in cinema by any stretch of any imagination. I don't feel that way about my own work, and I certainly don't feel that way about his.
It's irrelevant, though. His signing something like that in somebody's book that they made, that they just created about your work, is just like really fucking lame move.
Jenna's asking if I'd ever seen Zack and Miri. Is that his? I haven't, but I don't know if that's his. And that's true. That's the other thing, is I haven't seen everything. Like, I never saw Dogma. Is that what it was called? What's it called?
Dogma.
I never saw that, and people love that movie. I actually stopped watching Kevin Smith right after he, after he dissed me at Comic-Con and treated me like shit. I was like, yeah, well, fuck you. Guess what, pal? I'm not going to buy your tickets. I'm not going to go to your movies, pal.
I'm not going to wait in line for your booth at the Comic-Con.
I'm not going to go and say hi to you when I see you. I won't even wave.
I'm not going to attend your panel discussion.
I won't be at your panel discussion earnestly with my hand up. No.
Erica said Dogma is good, though.
Is it? I heard it's good.
So Delicate saying, sharing some information about this. I said, like, why should Brian Friedman give a shit if Blake and Taylor are friends?
Yeah.
So Delicate's like, yeah, because Scooter Braun cares if Blake and Taylor are friends.
That's right.
Scooters shared the TMZ article at the end of August that talked about Blake and Taylor having a birthday party in Rhode Island and captioned, "Why was I not invited?"
No.
The smear was already in motion by then. Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel text exchange also said that they were glad that Scooter was not mentioned about, during the case, That's right. That's true. He's definitely involved in all of this stuff.
I gotta show you something.
He's probably the source, that Brian Friedman is like a source who knows Taylor.
Every time I see this now, I think of Taylor Swift.
Dale, what is that?
It's a crumpled up piece of paper.
Oh, okay. It's not like a snot tissue?
No, it's a lens cloth, Angela. Okay. I used it to clean your lens before your live today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Snot cloth.
Well, I don't know what it is.
Every time I see this, I think of Taylor Swift.
Why?
Because she's a crumpled up piece of paper, Angela.
That's what she said?
Yeah.
Are those lyrics?
Yeah. Isn't it sad?
It's really sad to feel that way. It's
feels
true.
like a crumpled up piece of paper.
Well, she doesn't always feel that way, Dale.
I got Rami Mars to say Freedon's Plum on her live.
Oh, sweet.
Who's that? That's so great. Is that somebody super cool too?
I'm gonna
on top of it. Not that she's not cool if she's not cool. I don't know what I mean.
She's obviously cool if she said Fridon's
Yeah,
plum
it's
on her
true.
life.
You got to be cool to say that. I love you guys so much. You guys are so fucking good to us.
You guys are great. Okay, what else do I have for you today?
What more have you got? Unveil it. Anything else on Karen Reed? Oh my God, they're going to win that fucking case. How do you can't lose that case.
They're not going to win the case. No, it's just going to be another mistrial. Because the stupid prosecutors
Maybe not.
can't put together a coherent case.
Maybe not, because the jurors know it's the second trial. Mm-hmm. And if on the second trial they sort of turn around and say this thing is a fucking dog pile,
no, what's going to happen is the judge is going to be like, "Oh, you haven't come to a decision. Well, go back in," and they'll just like do that like a exhaustion torture on them. Hopefully, they'll come to a conclusion. But I think it's still going to be. I think it's going to be a hung jury for sure.
Delicate asked by the way, for those of you who are on YouTube and you see JCA, I'm referring to her as Delicate because of her Delicate is her name on TikTok.
Delicate said, "Did you see what the Orange Man said about Taylor?"
I didn't, but I love that you said Orange Man.
Oh, he said he was like, I don't think he's like weighing in on this gossip because he's such a sassy diva.
Yeah.
Somebody did like a supercut and just like changed. It was like his quotes, his talking to the press, like everything was
right.
like, but they just sort of like changed his voice just a little bit to make him sound like the sassiest like drag queen diva ever.
Really?
Like, just he's totally. In another life, he might have been happier if he could just be an opinionated. Anyway.
Sofia Coppola's daughter is an icon. How old is Sofia? God, I'm fucking getting so
Can I answer
old.
this question?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you see what the Orange Man said about Taylor? So he's weighing in on Brian Friedman's fucking mess that he made.
Oh, okay.
And he said, I don't think it's a coincidence that I said that she's very bad or she's not talented or anything, and her star has fallen since then. Like he wants to take credit
of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift, who is
he
like
thinks her star has fallen.
That he has. Well, he didn't use those words, but that he thinks that he is responsible for the fact that she's not very popular right now, and it has nothing to do with the fact that she just came off of a tour and she's resting.
He has no idea what he's talking about.
He really did he needs to be like a reality TV host or something. Like he needs to be like a talk show host instead. That's what he wants to be. That's what he really wants to be.
He misses it.
I know he does.
He misses it. This is his way of getting back into Hollywood. Is to like.
He said she's no longer hot. Man, it must be so weird to be a celebrity.
I fucking love her.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine waking up in the morning and your like assistant's like, the president talked about you today?
If Taylor Swift decided to go to Brazil and throw a free concert, that would be the shortest lived, largest concert record ever. Because you know that what's her name just got it?
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga just got it.
If it was the same venue, I don't think so. Because there's something that you got to understand about Lady Gaga played at one of like the most like LGBTQ friendly communities in all of South America, in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
On Copacabana, where they usually host like Rock in Rio.
Go.
The Rio de Janeiro's specific celebration of Carnival every year is very like drag queen forward. It's fun. I think that's why she did so well.
Why wouldn't Taylor do well in that scenario?
Because Lady Gaga really is like
queen.
The gays love her.
Don't the gays love Taylor? I think they do. I think they do a lot.
It's the costuming, I think. Lady Gaga is like a really big costumey show.
She is. But Taylor
she went to like
Taylor
Carnival
does the
Town
fucking shoulder
with
pads.
a big costume show.
Do you see the shoulder pads? Taylor's?
Whatever.
Not to be messed with. 1987.
She should try. It should be like a big competition.
Really? My audio's cutting out? Why would that be happening?
I'm grateful because I don't really like my commentary in that last part.
Is it still cutting out?
Oh, Delicate says she did play in Brazil, and that was when a Swiftie died of heat exhaustion. I do remember that.
It's weird. I see so much. I don't know. I don't see any problems. Weird. Really?
Yeah. Well,
she had somebody pass it.
It's the humidity is no joke. Like it could be 100 degrees, but if it's 100 degrees and humid, like you could.
It's like having a wind chill, but
you're really
the opposite
endangered.
Of a wind chill.
Yeah. Let's see.
But I'm saying if she played Brazil free, right? Like I'm saying, like
if she played Copacabana,
if she did Copacabana free, that she would tie or break that record.
Probably.
I don't think she would have any problem. Let's just say like let's have Donald Trump throw a party in a big open space and see how many people show up, and then let's have Taylor Swift do it. I wonder how many people are going to show up to her party versus Donald Trump's party. Whatever. I'm being childish. I'm just being childish. So Nadine now she slipped over. Are you guys still experiencing audio problems over on YouTube? I don't understand why that would be. I don't see anything on my controls. Lives, bro. We just don't know what's happening. I wouldn't even hear it in the on the headset if I was. Anyway, man, that sucks. I'm sorry, you guys, if your audio is cutting out. Francis Ford Coppola is cute, also like Santa Claus of cinema.
That's true.
That's pretty cute to say. He is Francis Ford Coppola. You think he's cute, huh? Yeah, I could see him being cute, I guess. Audio's fine for Danielle. Okay, cool. I don't know. I wonder what happened, Nadine. Anyway, the Orange Man. I mean, let him. He can pretend that. He's such a fucking baby, bro.
He's such a fucking diva.
What a fucking baby.
Okay, so here's more news.
She doesn't like me, so she's a bitch.
Do you remember who Liz Plank is?
Yes.
Okay.
She from Man Enough.
Yeah, she co-hosted the Man Enough podcast.
She's
with
like
Justin
a big
Baldoni.
deal in the women's rights movement, right?
Yeah.
Women equality. And
she wrote a book also about toxic masculinity and how it harms men and boys. She's like a feminist, but specifically sort of. She's also like a political commentator. She's got a long career.
Highly reputable. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So she has a new podcast.
Oh.
She's announced, and it's called Boy Problems with Liz Plank.
That's really funny.
And everybody's hoping that she talks about what happened, why she left Man Enough.
She won't.
She won't.
She won't. You know what she'll do? She'll speak in innuendo. She'll say like, in my past,
It's hard working with dudes.
Yeah, it's not always easy. I've worked with many, many, many dudes, so she can build a liable free zone.
Yeah, I know. She's like, these guys are litigious. I'm not gonna say anything.
Cosmic Urgency asks, does Scott Bloom from The Stuff, one of the greatest horror films ever, also hate you? We're talking about people who hate me? That's what we're doing? I don't know. Ask him if he fucking hates me. You should be asking me if I hate Scott Bloom, because that's the only thing I know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what Scott Bloom hates. We're not friends. But I can't tell you whether the man hates me. But I can tell you that he probably isn't fond of the way in which he's depicted in the book behind me called Too Real a Hollywood Memoir, because Scott Bloom, well, it's embarrassing, and I'm not going to tell you.
Did you know this horror film called The Stuff?
I will do that, Leo. Edits. So hit me up.
You'll do what?
Leo Edit said if I send books to Romy, she can give them to every Coppola. Let's give them to the Coppolas. Let's go.
A book for every Coppola.
Hey, listen, you know what? Francis Ford Coppola.
Does that include Nick Cage?
If Francis Ford Coppola read my story, I while he might not do anything about it, and would expect him to, I suspect he would be highly on my side about it. I think it'd be very sad for me, and for any other filmmaker who could have gone through something like that.
Yeah.
He's the real deal.
Cosmic Urgency is asking, do you hate Scott Bloom? But I'm not convinced that this isn't Scott Bloom.
What's up, Scott? Do I hate Scott Bloom? No. I'm eternally disappointed in him. I will go to the if this guy was sitting across from me right now, I would look at him and I would see Scott Bloom, and then I would see disappointment. What?
You.
What did I do?
It was just a funny way to put it.
Okay. I like it.
It makes sense.
Honestly, I don't know that I hate anybody. Do you think do I hate Toby? I'm asking you, like, from your perspective of me, not to speak for me, but like, you know me better than anybody. Do
I
I?
feel like if you saw him like on site, you would be like, you would have the overwhelming urge to punch. I feel like that it probably equates to hate, but it's just like it's such a complex, like concept, hate, and everybody has a weird opinion about it. Everybody's opinion about hate is different. I find that people think that hate is a weakness. I don't feel that way. I feel like hate is a very useful emotion. It's a very useful thing. It's I think fundamentally it protects people.
I think I have it. I think I get it confused with anger. Like I have a tremendous amount of anger for all of them. Like if I hung out with Scott Bloom in 2011, and I speak briefly about it in the book, but I hung out with him briefly, and one of the things I remember most about that meeting was the feeling that, oh my God, my veins are coming out of my neck like Toby's. Yeah, we were at Stout, I think, and I was just, which is a burger place in Hollywood, and anger, but hatred, no. I think it's just.
Where do you think where do you think one stops and the other one starts? I'm surprised they're not like a little bit more overlapped for you.
I think that I think hatred like I genuinely don't want any harm to come to any of them. I just want what's mine. Do you know what I mean? Like I want them to.
You don't want any harm to come to them?
No.
If you heard on the news that if you heard on the news that the biggest villain in your life had like a really bad day, like a really, really, really bad day, you wouldn't feel like a little bit of satisfaction about that?
Well, I said I didn't want harm to come to them. I didn't say I wouldn't enjoy the harm that did.
That you wouldn't revel in the news.
I didn't say that at all. I think that look, no, I mean it depends on what the harm is, right? Like if one of them were struck by bad illness, from terrible illness,
lightning,
or lightning, even, or just anything that harmed them, I would feel terrible for them. So I would not want that.
Any smiting. Any smiting that may come along. Jenna says, I always see Scott Bloom in the background of Leo's paparazzi photos, but they never call him by name.
Who, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really interesting because as I have been learning
Who said
about
that?
Jenna said on TikTok. As I've been learning about Dale's story and going through his case and everything, I find that it's very easy to forget about Scott Bloom. Like when you picture all these dudes in a room.
No, we did. It's like an ongoing. It was an ongoing joke. Like he's like, I have all of the depositions except Scott Bloom's. I don't know why.
I also think that it's so I think it's also not just our problem, but I think the friends he currently has forget about him too. I think he gets left out a lot. It's
Nadine said, I never heard of Scott Bloom. I lived in the Brian Bloom age. Both of their eyes creep me out. Do you know who Brian Bloom is?
Only,
I mean, obviously that he's the brother, but do you know by visually?
Not before I learned all about. I didn't know who.
There's three brothers. There's Michael, Brian, and Scott. And Michael's a musician, and Brian's a writer and an actor. He had Nadine remembers him because he had a big run in the late '80s to early '90s, and he right into the mid '90s. Really, he did pretty well. And then he fell off as an actor, and then he picked it up as a writer. Creepy. That's interesting. I guess creepy. Those eyes are wild, no doubt about it. Cosmic Urgency. Sorry. Said Francis Ford Coppola defended Victor Salva. You don't want him on your side. Do you know Victor Salva?
Mm-mm.
Maybe I don't want, I'll tell you, it's so interesting you bring it up because I really don't fucking know who's good anymore about anything. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know where to turn, who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. I have no fucking idea anymore between, you just don't know. You don't know who's a douche and who's and oddly enough, you don't know, like, like it's like douchey people are good and good people are douchey, and do you know what I mean? Like, I came to town here, and all I did was offer up my services to this town. I gave myself to writers for free. I did like six figures worth of free work in this town for writers and up and comers. I taught at the University of Georgia for practically fucking nothing. These were all the contributions I was making as soon as I got to this town to try and contribute to it. And I thought, well, maybe we'll create something. And we did, because before I came here and did all that, we made a movie. It was the first movie produced in Athens in I don't know how long, and it completely invigorated a production scene in Athens that is now quite vibrant, that was not here prior to us doing all that. But where I'm going is that I did all this work voluntarily because there were all these really sweet people. They were really nice and kind. These fucking people backstabbed me like everybody else at the first chance they could, because they tasted gold, right? It was like the opportunity.
It wasn't
to shine.
Like everybody did it, but it was like
everybody that mattered in the situation.
There were like three different people who were involved. They were
but three's enough.
I know, it was crazy. Completely different parts of your life.
It's greed. Right? It's greed. It's like this idea that this FOMO, this idea that they might miss out on something, like, if it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I think culturally, the U.S. just has a dog eat dog problem. Like, I think that there's a lot of, like, if you want to get to the top, you're going to have to step on some people type issue with everybody. It's not unique to this country. I think a lot of cultures are like that, but it's pretty bad here just because everybody's struggling so much.
I tell you every now and then that I have long COVID. The worst long COVID I have is the tinnitus.
Is it happening?
Oh, it's crazy right now. Like, I have a whistle in this ear that is extremely loud.
It's the spirits.
It's now just starting to die down, but it was just like, wow.
See, because you mentioned it, the spirits are like, oh shit.
Oh shit.
He's telling everybody about it.
Just trying to fax somebody, man.
Just trying to send a fax.
Just trying to send a fax.
Pretty good Gen X humor.
Who's Romy Mars? Romy Mars. Who is that?
I guess it's a relative of a Coppola.
Oh.
Not Nick Cage is a Coppola too. Everybody's a Coppola.
Nick Cage is a Coppola, yeah.
Romy Mars. Let's see.
Never heard of Romy Mars. Is that bad?
Romy Mars is 18 years old.
There's a song of Taylor Swift's, a duo, and every time that I think of it, every time I hear the guy's voice, I think it's John Mulaney singing.
That's weird.
It's so weird, but I picture him.
Romy Mars is the daughter of Thomas Mars and Sofia Coppola.
Oh, okay.
She's an actress and singer.
Sofia Coppola. So, like, sort of interesting little side note is that the Pussy Posse. So sorry about that, folks.
What's happening with your mic?
I forgot to reset it before the live, and I've been smashing this desk up. So the Coppolas, or Sofia Coppola, what's interesting about her is that the Pussy Posse, that was coined by a writer called what was her name now? Let me see if I can remember it. It's been a minute, but anyway, she wrote for New York Magazine, and she did this article on Leo back in like 2000, 2001, whatever it was. And in that article, she coined the phrase "Pussy Posse," and it's stuck ever since. And she went on to write a screenplay for Sofia Coppola. It was based on her book. She also wrote a book, and she wrote the screenplay for the book for Sofia Coppola.
The Bling Ring?
Bling Ring, yeah.
Bling movie?
Yeah, that's it. It was Bling Ring. That's right. So anyway, in Mary Jo Sales. There you go. So the writer's name is Mary Jo Sales, and again, Mary Jo Sales. She as I said, she had coined the phrase "Pussy Posse" for the New York Magazine, and anyway, I reached out to her when I wrote my open letter to DiCaprio in September of 2014, and she answered back surprisingly, and so I found an email and I wrote her and I was like, hey, and she was writing then, and I didn't, I found out then, but that she had left writing for New York Magazine and began writing for Vanity Fair. Anyway, I still have this email. She wrote me back and she told me, forget it. You have no chance. You have zero chance
of getting them to run a story about your thing
in Vanity Fair. She was like, Vanity Fair is never going to happen. And then she told me because of Leo's influence and power over Vanity Fair.
She wasn't wrong.
And she wasn't wrong. Well, she was wrong because I did get written up in Vanity Fair, although his side definitely skewed it. But it's just so interesting that like Sofia Coppola has always kind of almost been 1 degree away from me for a while.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, is the observation. The observation is, and I'll tell you that in my past, whenever I've sort of noted this, like, hey, wow, like these people are like they're 1 degree away. There's been some kind of opportunity, like to meet them, to speak with them, or they reach out or whatever. So who knows, man? Maybe the Coppolas are in the cards. Bring on the Coppolas. I need all the damn help I can get. And by the way, speaking of which, if you like the live, please like the live. And if you share the live, I'm also grateful for that. And just all the kind things that you do to help us with our social media. I know that I haven't been living up to my end of the bargain, and I'm not publishing a lot of videos. I'm so excited about this format because, you and I are talking about doing different collaborations because this is much easier to work with, and I can actually produce content. So beyond the lives, expect some content. Angela and I are going to be filming something this weekend.
I have lots of ideas, yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica said that Romy Mars, she's asking, but this is true, that Romy Mars got grounded. She told all of her fans on social media that she was grounded because she chartered a helicopter with her parents' credit card.
Ah!
And it's just such a completely different life. Imagine if you were like really rich when you were growing up, the kind of trouble you'd get into. Yo, why are you complaining?
Well, what's hilarious is that, it's because they do. It's just like the different, because like what I got busted for was taking my mom and dad's car without a driver's license when I was like 14.
It's like the same thing, except a different class.
They were like, so who moved the car? That was my mom and dad. Who moved the car? I didn't move the car. It's winter in Winnipeg,
Yeah.
Somebody moved the car because it snowed, but there were tire tracks out our driveway.
So you got caught.
I got fucking caught. I don't know how I didn't think of this.
I know, for her, she must have been like, her parents must have been like, where's the helicopter?
Excuse me, why did Bob the pilot call me and tell me that he had to go on an 8-hour flight to...
What are these helicopter coordinates that happen?
Fucking getting grounded.
Notifications that my helicopter
landed
in LaGuardia.
Imagine like hating your parents for grounding you because you basically stole a helicopter. Like when I was a kid, I stole from my mom. I stole money from my mom, from her wallet. You know what I mean? And I went into her wallet and it was payday, and I was like, man, I'm gonna get some money off this woman. She was being real cheap. So
that's like the worst offense you could ever do.
Stealing money from
teenager.
Your mom?
Yeah, like it was like.
It's a long story, but they stole from me.
You could get in trouble with the law. You can get in trouble with your friends, but if you like go into the purse, that's like, you could not survive.
Well, I did, and I'm not even fucking ashamed of it because, they stole from me. So anyway, I went in and I stole some money. I remember it was $20. It was a $20 bill, and I remember because she had like a pile of them because it was payday, and she goes and pays. This is like 1980 whatever. That was my stomach. No, it was a doctor.
Why are you complaining?
But I'm just thinking, like, what's the equivalent of like stealing $20 from your mother's wallet if you're Francis Ford Coppola's kid?
Chartering the helicopter without permission.
No. That's stealing the car. What's the equivalent of stealing money out of the wallet?
Oh, well, she used her parents' credit cards.
She just had credit cards.
Yeah, so she was like, "Oh, I'll take the black card."
It's like in White Lotus when the call girls are fucking buying the dresses. Yeah. I need me a sugar daddy.
Dude, who doesn't need a sugar daddy?
You
can't fault any of these people who are like OnlyFans like escorts, and you're like, get it.
Who doesn't want a 55-year-old washed up Canadian?
Well, no, it's just like, everybody's got to make money in this late stage capitalism is just going to get harder and harder. You got to make your way however you can.
I never saw the bling ring. Jenna's asking if I ever met anyone in the bling ring, or know anyone that was burgled.
Yeah, because their whole thing was that they were infiltrating these like Hollywood circles and like befriending a bunch of like young celebrities.
No, I've never been burgled. I burgled when I was like a kid, like a young kid, a business. My friend kicked a door and it opened. We were just out being kids, you know, and he kicked the door of this business and it opened, and we were like, we're going in. So we went in, and lo and behold, they weren't expecting a kid to kick the door open. They had a safe full of money open. So,
you know what I immediately thought of is that whoever closed that night got in so much trouble.
So we took it. It was like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, because I'm sure they were like, how did they I don't know, maybe they saw you were kids. They were like, maybe they thought it was an inside job or something.
But check it out. We took it, right? And we took the money, and there was like 4 of us. So we split it 4 ways. And but we ransacked the place. Like, we stole everything. We stole our computer. We stole everything because we were just fucking 13 years old or whatever.
It was like an electronics store or something?
No, it was like a little factory. It was like a little manufacturing factory. A little manufacturing plant. I don't know what they made. We just took all their shit, and then and we were playing in the place, you know, because we're kids. And one of our friends picked up a labeler, and he fucking wrote up my name. But I didn't know he wrote out my name. I found out because this happened on the weekend, and then on the fucking Monday, the cops are in the neighborhood, right? Because the business was like on the corner. But I'm living at the right at the corner of the street, and then up from me, 1 full block, was this business.
Well, that's so easy. You should have just been like, I was framed, because who would be stupid enough to write their own name?
The fucking cops went around. Who's Dale? Who's Dale? And there was 2 Dales. There was me and a guy called Dale Levine. The first Dale they went to was Dale Levine. And Dale was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There's another Dale, he said.
Yeah.
His name is Dale Wheatley.
So what'd you do?
So I didn't know until I went to school. I came home. When I came home, there were cops sitting in my driveway. Oh, I knew. It was the scariest day of my life. I was like, I'm about to be arrested.
So what happened?
I got arrested. I got charged with breaking in and entering.
How old were you?
13.
They charged you with that bullshit evidence?
Yeah, they got me.
You shouldn't have talked. You
I
should have
confessed.
got a lawyer.
I was fucking...
You confessed?
I didn't get a lawyer. I confessed immediately. It's me. I did it.
This is why you're not built for crime. Why are you complaining?
Yeah, not built for crime.
Okay, I need everybody that can hear this dog to understand that this dog is walked, this dog is fed, this dog is simply bored. This dog does not like podcasting. That's the only thing that's wrong with this dog. This dog is not being abused.
I love the Exile with Bonneville. I didn't know his voice could go so low. I was just saying that today. That's on what you call it, Folklore, right?
Nadine said, I love the third host. He's just visiting and like he's kind of overstaying his welcome at this point. Oh, you're gonna wag? You're gonna wag, you know you're being annoying.
I kind of like the song he sings.
You do?
Yeah.
I know, he's got a really baritone voice.
Cosmic Urgency, love Scott Bloom because of this movie. I guess I want to see it.
A horror movie?
With Scott Bloom in it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, let me see if it's where it streams.
I didn't know that Bonivar's... How do you say his name? Is it Bon Iver? Bon Iver? Bonivar? Bon Iver.
I don't know.
Bonivar. Anyway. As talented as he is, I'm not that big of a fan of his.
Oh, yeah, we can watch this. I don't know. I have to look. Are they talking about the 1985 horror film or something more recent?
I know Brian Bloom in 2000 Malibu Road.
Oh, yeah, this is him. He's a little kid. It's a 1985 horror film.
Really?
Yeah, they should remake it.
What's it called? I should remake it, right?
It's The Stuff.
The Stuff.
It's a satirical science fiction horror film.
Huh.
The Stuff, when they were filming it, this like, you know, monster stuff. Like, I guess it's a blob movie or something.
A blob?
No, it was like when the stuff was eaten on screen, it was ice cream, yogurt, and whipped cream were used.
Sounds good.
I don't know if we're gonna watch this, Dale. I'm gonna be honest. This doesn't look very good. I don't know if we're gonna spend an hour and 33
genre
minutes.
fans, they just watch anything.
I know.
And love it.
I'll just watch anything too, but this one just doesn't even really look.
Do you guys
scary.
ever see Extro? It's spelled XTRO. Extro. Do you ever? Here's the only thing I remember about this movie is that
Yo, come here.
I kept going to the video store in 1980, whatever, and I just stare at this cover, and I never ever saw it. So I think we should see that.
Extra.
It's called Extro, and it's. I don't know if any of you have this. It's the only VHS movie jacket cover that I can't get out of my mind. I'm 55 years old. I can't get this shit out of my mind from 1985, 30 years ago.
Yep.
Oh, 40 years ago. God.
You're not allowed over there, bro.
You know what's cool about getting old? Not a lot.
A few things though, right?
Yeah. Well, you're getting old, so that's cool. Because otherwise you're dead. You're John O'Keefe. Right?
You get to forget some fun movies and then rewatch them again. He's really
Stars.
pushy, right?
Really,
I know. Maybe we should conclude soon.
we will. Yeah. It's a privilege, I know, to get old. It really is. It's a privilege to get old. I can't remember what I was going to say about it, but I was gonna bitch about getting old for a second.
Don't bitch about getting old.
When I was a kid.
I think it's a good thing.
Uh,
I think you get more wise. I think people pay different attention to you.
I will. Cosmic Urgency. Maybe we can watch it over the weekend.
What? The stuff?
Yeah, I don't care if it's a DNF. If it goes DNF, it goes DNF.
Okay.
But let's watch it because I'm going to do that for Cosmic Urgency. Because Cosmic Urgency's been a cool player.
I'm telling you, it's Scott Bloom.
It's Scott Bloom, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's fucking, whatever, he's 15 years old. I don't give a shit. Do you know he was friends with RD at that time?
He was?
Yep.
What did they do?
They were friends since 1982.
They broke up these friendships that were like over a decade old.
They were
such a crime.
They
I
were
can't
friends
believe it.
since 1982. When it was a 12-year friendship that
It's
they
like,
broke up.
you know, like, so Justin Baldoni is like trying really hard to break up Blake Lively and Taylor Swift, and they're such close friends.
Yeah.
And like, it's so unbelievable that all these conspiracy theories are happening, that you know, that there's actually some rift. Like, I don't believe it for a second. But the reason I don't believe it is because this is such a strong friendship, and they seem so well matched, right? Just like your friends did before they did get broken up by some fucking bullshit, some conflict that didn't even need to happen in the first place. So it does happen.
So Nadine's daughter Katie is graduating tomorrow.
Congratulations.
That's so fucking great. Congratulations, Katie.
I'm so happy for you. I hope you get to sleep in
Yeah,
so
dude.
much.
Go to Europe.
Yeah.
They love Americans. Okay, maybe don't go to Europe. Go to No.
I'll go anywhere.
Go
You're free as a bird now.
to Texas.
It's got to
Just go have fun, and congratulations to you, Katie. What a great accomplishment for you.
That's nice.
That's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. You got anything else? Got
Have a
any
great
other-
summer. Don't ever change.
See,
Did you ever have yearbooks?
yearbooks?
You
Yeah,
you were a dropout, so I wasn't sure if you had yearbooks.
I'm a dropout.
I'm a dropout too. But you know how they always say, like, if you have somebody write in your yearbook, it's like, have a great summer, don't ever change. That's what I'm telling Katie right now.
Have a great summer. Don't ever change. That's so great, Stefan. I'm so glad. Listen, I'm going to probably change that background. Stefan said it looks great, but I'm gonna probably change the background a little bit because I hate it. It was the last one I tried. I was like, fuck, I'm just going to go with this today. Anyway, where was I going? What was I going to say?
Larry Ludwig is said that the stuff is directed by a Roger Corman type legend, producer, writer, director Larry Cohen.
Erica asked
I'll
what
check it
happened
out.
after I robbed the store. We didn't rob the store.
You robbed a store.
Is that robbing?
Yes, that's robbery.
Oh, because it's armed robbery. Okay, yeah.
Oh, no, it's burglary.
It's burglary,
It's
right? I
burglary.
burgled the store.
you
Yeah,
burgled.
yeah. I never robbed nobody. What happened? Well, I got arrested. I was charged with breaking and entering. I was subsequently, I pled guilty, and I was given like probation or something. I don't remember. I was 13. And then I did, and then I shoplifted. And I shoplifted like a couple of years. It was like a year later or something. And I got busted for that. And then they threw me in juvie for one night. and I never crimed again.
That's what it takes.
I was 14 years old. Dude, they put me in this cell where there was a window on the where with a curtain on the outside. And I was in this cell with a cot and a toilet. And I had to go.
Oh, so it just
And
that sobered you up.
like they knew.
Yeah.
Like they fucking knew I had to go. The guard walked by and just walked by and just opened up the drape on the other side because I'm locked in. And it was wide open for everybody to see. And he didn't even look inside. Just walked by like. And then I found out later, after I got arrested, that my dad told them to keep me for one night. Mm-hmm. And it worked. That was a wrap. Dale's crime career had ended. It was over. I went straight.
I think about that most,
I actually flipped and I turned a couple of people in too.
When I think about prisoner experiences, it's always like the humiliation of not having any privacy ever. I think about that a lot. I feel like that falls under
crazy.
I feel like that falls under cruel and unusual punishment. I don't think that should be allowed. I think you should at least have like private bathroom.
Yeah,
you know?
well, the
like,
thing
I
about it
understand,
is America's so tough on its citizens that like if you made jail remotely comfortable, man, people would just be killing people to get there. You know, they get dental benefits. They get, well, I don't know if it's benefits.
I mean,
but
hardly. It's not like it's some nice
they
place.
they got a bad tooth. They got somebody to see. They get medical. They get all these things. I mean, I'm not saying be a prisoner. But
I think that they just get their teeth pulled. I think that's what Harvey Weinstein's complaint was. He wanted to see a proper dentist because
I want a crown.
Because he wanted a crown, and they were like, no, we're just gonna pull your tooth. If it's bad, it comes out. Like,
don't worry about it. You have several others.
So it's not like it's a good place to be.
Oh, it's a Roger Corman movie. Larry Ludwig says. What's up, Larry? By the way, Larry, I don't know if you've been on our live before, but check us out on YouTube also. The link is where we multicast there. And on YouTube, you can actually see the lovely lady, Angela.
Simulcast.
It's multicast, damn it.
Is
the
it?
stuff is, well, it's technically not multicast because I'm using my phone and I'm using OBS. So I guess it's not technically that. The stuff is directed by Roger Corman, so I'm definitely, now you got me, bro.
Yeah, okay, we'll watch it.
All right. Contingency urgency's got me on that.
Stefan doesn't buy your story.
Which
Stefan
one?
said, shoplifted my ass. Dale, you robbed the store at gunpoint and took 7 hostages.
That's true.
That's true.
And I shot an innocent person. And then I vowed at that moment to be a good person. It's true. I got to spice up my life. I got to I got to be more dangerous.
Maybe not.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I'll just push out right now.
Instantly.
Tap out. What do we got? It's 9:01. Go Jets. Jets playing on. Listen, Erica. I wish you luck. I don't want you guys to win on Saturday. The truth is, I want Dallas to never win.
I wish you luck, but not with that.
But I so appreciate you. So I do hope that Dallas never plays any of our teams again. Well, they're always going to play the Eagles, so that's bad news. Anyway, Erica, I'll be thinking of you on Saturday, especially if you win. And I will congratulate you with dignity and decorum on Monday. But if we win, Monday is the day we get to have our Game 7 in Winnipeg, where Connor Hellebuck has 2 shutouts. So the guy might be useless as a tit on a bull on the road. He's got to win one tomorrow.
What is that saying, and where did it come from?
Tit on a bull? Tit on a boar?
Well, I know
I think it's tit on a boar is the original.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Useless as tits on a boar.
Where did you hear it?
My dad.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, it's a dad thing for sure. It's one of the few that survived.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who knows why?
Because it's so good. What are tits on a bull good for?
Humor.
I guess so. You guys are so fucking terrific. I'm going to start making content soon, but Monday we're going to be pumping in some live media. I don't know what it will be. Certainly it's going to be highlights of shit going on all around us.
I have a lot of questions I want to ask you. I want to make
Yes.
videos of you answering questions that I've heard from fans of your movie.
Yeah.
And also, you have such great insight onto the filmmaking part of this Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively
Yeah.
trial drama.
Yeah, we're going to do like educational shit too. We're going to get into like writing stuff because I happen to have good perspectives on those kinds of things. Like I can offer things, you know.
Yeah.
I have a very, I believe very much in, you know, I just think that writers are, that there's no one way to do anything. And so the more that we can share, the more that we can learn what others do, the more we open up a world that we can experiment in and grow with and into, you know. So we're going to do some of that stuff. As a matter of fact, watch it. Rocket Ships is here. This is fucking awesome. Rocket Ships, check out the YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll even stick around for a minute. Go check out the YouTube. The link is in my bio. But we are online on YouTube as well. Really happy to see Larry here. We got some cool new people over on TikTok, even if we are going slow. But once I start building content, guys, then we'll start seeing some more folks. And before we do that, I'm going to put a little system, a tiny pineapple system, that will give you guys like tiny pineapples, so that all you guys will be elevated as like tiny pineapple kings and queens. And for those of you who are wondering why tiny pineapples, it has nothing to do with swinging and everything to do with a scene in my book.
Okay, so Stefan sent you an email. Okay, so you got to check your email.
Okay, well.
And then Cosmic Urgency said, "Don't let Dale forget to watch the stuff, Angela. Even if you don't want to, the podcast comes first."
She's right. He's right.
That's true.
I don't know if she's right. It's he or she.
Cosmic Urgency.
Cosmic Urgency sounds masculine.
It's Scott Bloom.
It sounds masculine.
Obviously.
I also make the mistake of constantly fucking misgendering, because I think everything is male, because I'm a fucking man.
Because you're a pig.
Because I'm a man. No.
Yeah, that's fine. People do it.
Did you just hear my stomach?
No.
It made a moan. It just went, oh. I was like, what? What is happening?
You know how they say like, in all mankind, right? Mankind. Yeah. It's like a thing. We've just been doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I do have an update. Let me do it right now.
Okay.
So we spoke with the Tomorrow Museum in Portland, Oregon today. We had a 25-minute tech meeting, and man, it looks like it's going to go forward. We're negotiating some of the pricing.
What's going to go forward?
So we're going to do a live. We're going to do a live 2-reel at the theater, which is going to be dope. I'm going to bring in some special guests. I don't know who yet, so I'm going to start, and it's not till September, so I'll be teasing it. But there's going to be some special guests for sure, and definitely people from the movie, for sure, and maybe even a band. And this will be like September 13th, and people are going to get, those in attendance will be able to get a signed book.
Okay.
By the way, another thing I want to tell you is, and this is a good reason to follow us, we're going to give away 10 books on, as soon as we hit, let me go to my wide shot so that you guys can see this. I'm going to give away these 10 books. For those of you on TikTok, trust me, I'm tapping books. When we get to 500, followers on YouTube, because at 500 followers, I get to link up my store. And I just want to sell some books, guys. You know what I'm saying? So I want to sell them so bad I'm willing to give them away. So anyway, just letting you know, I already know where some of these books are going, because, how can you not send like some of these people a book? I got to send some of these people's books. Anyway.
That's fun.
I need 500 followers, and then I'm going to start losing money like a stock market guy. I don't know. Who loses money?
I think you're losing steam, babe.
Okay. You guys are so fucking incredible, and I'm so glad to share a little bit of our lives with you. I hope you are too, Angela.
Oh yeah, it's really fun. I love seeing all the same people, and I love seeing so many of the people that we were talking with for so long on TikTok venturing over to the YouTube space.
I wonder if
that's very fun.
Yeah, I love that you're coming.
And I love how everybody contributes to our conversation.
Yeah.
I learn so much every day.
And what people don't know is that we are still under quarantine. We are still hiding from disease. So
I know it does feel like that.
So this is kind of our social life now too, isn't it? So we get to meet some new people, and we get to hang out with some fucking dope people, and at the same time, I sell a book or two every now and then. I'm quite happy about it. All right, we're gonna go because I'm fucking babbling stupidly. You guys are lovely and amazing. I can't wait to see you Monday. And yeah, we're going to up the game a little bit on Monday too. So
The game will be upped.
we're going to up the game. We're going to be able to show you John O'Keefe's arm.
Yeah.
You're not going to forget it.
Everybody's going to love that.
You guys are incredible. We will see you again very, very, very soon in just a few days. Go Jets. Best of luck to you, Erica. Goodbye, guys. Good night. Good night, Angela.
Good night.
And now. Stop recording.